My name is Aiden Brook, Business Development Manager with Seedworld Group, and I'm here with Leontino Taveira, and he is Head of Technical Affairs and Regional Development with UPOV, and we are here at the SAA event in Punta del Este, Uruguay. We are just finishing cleaning up some lunch, and I was curious, what did you have for lunch? Did you have any breakfast? Did you have a sandwich?
I had the top 5 crops that we all should promote.
There you go. There you go. The top 5 crops. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for being here, Leontino. I appreciate you taking the time. I want to dive right in with a question. And my question to you is, can you talk to us about the importance of UPOV and UPOV standards? What do they really do and help plant breeders with?
Oh, absolutely. If we realize that new plant varieties are the best vehicle to deliver to farmers and society all those solutions they require for mitigating climate change effects, looking into food security, and also economic development, sustainable economic development. So seeds are the best vehicle for delivering all that.
Yep.
UPOV promotes the development of new varieties of plants. UPOV has an IP system that's been particularly designed to promote plant breeding in the most efficient way.
Okay.
UPOV has, you said, standards. UPOV has a harmonized, an internationally harmonized system that enables breeders to save time, that speeds up the analysis of applications, and it's based on mutual recognition of these harmonized standards. So the impact for the private sector, for instance, private sector can engage in plant breeding activities. It's enabling the development of high quality seeds and value chains. But also for the public sector, it's important because it enables public sector to maximize the output of their breeding programs. Public-private partnerships, focusing on particular producer groups. So all this is beneficial for the public sector as well. I could even provide you an example.
Okay, let's do it. Yeah.
So in Mexico, breeders from more than 26 countries have brought their varieties into the Mexican territory. And that's more than 3,000 new plant varieties, more than 3,000 options for farmers to choose from. And it's interesting because if you look at the numbers, the output of Mexican agriculture has been bumped from 1 to 3% of yearly increase due to the use of new plant varieties mostly. So from there, I think you can tell how important new varieties are for us.
No kidding. Wow, that is fantastic. I think one of the key words that I took away from a big part of that was enables. It enables. It allows them to have this choice, have these options of such a variety.
More options to farmers. That's what it's all about.
I'll jump right back in. And I'm curious because I know there are still plenty of countries in South America who function under UPOV 78. What would be the benefit of switching over to UPOV 91? And what are the biggest differences?
Most countries in the region already incorporate mechanisms from the 1991 Act into the national plant variety protection laws. Having said that, the differences are first that the 91 Act invites countries to establish a policy to address the issue when farmers are allowed to save seed of protected varieties. Another difference is the introduction of the concept of essentially derived varieties. So this is enabling broad-based and diverse breeding programs to be encouraged. Other differences could be, for example, the extension of the breeder's rights to the harvested product in case the breeder had not had a reasonable opportunity to exercise its rights.
Yes.
Also, the extension of protection to all genera and species. Another difference would be the introduction of the period, the provisional protection from the moment of filing all the way to the final decision on whether or not to grant a title. So in terms of benefits, we could bring a few examples. For example, from Peru.
Okay.
Peru has become a UPOV member recently, some 10 years ago. But over the past 5 years, the increase in blueberry production was tenfold.
Okay.
In 5 years' time. And recently, they've gone beyond $1 billion in export value of fresh fruit. But if you're looking into seeds, because we've got to come back to seeds, of course. In Canada, after joining the 1991 Act of the UPOV Convention, there's been a notable increase in the number of applications being filed for the protection of fruit and vegetable crops.
Okay.
But in addition, for those agricultural crops, there's also been an increase in the filings coming from non-residents. So this is new genetics being introduced in the country to the benefit of farmers and the local breeding programs as well that can reuse these protected varieties within their own breeding programs.
Very cool. Very interesting. Absolutely. Thank you very much. Well said too. That is fantastic. Very cool. Cool. Next one I have is, what are the challenges in getting all countries to switch over to UPOV 91?
Debunking the myths in relation to UPOV and the 1991 Act is still the main challenge. There's lots of misinformation or disinformation even revolving around the value of plant variety protection, what is UPOV. But also it's a legislative process, so it takes time for countries to amend their laws, bringing them in line with the 1991 Act.
When it comes to plant breeders' rights, what's the most important thing you'd like seed companies to keep in mind?
Well, we would like to have support in explaining the benefits, why UPOV is important to farmers and to society. But also the industry should use UPOV tools to make their varieties more widely available. And here we're looking into the online application system. There is an online tool that UPOV makes available for breeders to file for protection elsewhere, which would enable them to bring their varieties into new territories, into new members, into other members of UPOV.
And when you say support for this exact thing, what is the way you see organizations in the seed industry supporting? What is like for building the platform or the program? Is that's one way that you would like support, is to have that be built through the industry?
We need to communicate better the importance of new varieties for farmers and for society in general. So joining efforts to communicate about plant varieties would be a great way forward.
Perfect. And how can seed companies in the Americas better encourage and keep plant breeders' rights top of mind?
Top of mind is all about communication.
Same.
We need to explain, it's the same again, we need to explain to society the value of UPOV and the value of new varieties. All those reasons we mentioned in the beginning, climate change, climate is changing, so we need new varieties that can cope with extreme weather and so on. Food security. So we are happy to join efforts with Seed World and explain to society the value of new plant varieties.
It's crazy that we haven't figured out that Mother Nature thing, eh? That we still don't have her figured out, even though we've spent so many years here, but we're working on it, right? We're still trying to figure it out.
We just need more plant breeders to come into play, help us out in this effort.
There you go, exactly. And my last one that I'm just personally curious about, what's a question either you personally or UPOV gets regularly, like the most common question that you get? What's the most common question you guys get?
So how do I file for protection for my new plant variety?
Fair enough.
The entry point, having figured the requirements and the entry point, it's one of the easiest intellectual property systems to file and to obtain protection. You can file directly for plant variety protection. And from then you can diversify sources of revenue or strengthen your plant breeding efforts through licensing protected varieties.
Fantastic. That's awesome. Well, thank you very much, Leontino.
Thank you.
Aiden, Brook with Seed World Group. And that's it. Punta del Este.